Erin Burnett, who does not like Bernie Sanders, who does not like Medicare for All, who is super capitalist. Her husband's an investment banker at Citibank, all that. Erin Burnett, yesterday at CNN, felt it was very, very important to get the actual video of the event that Bernie Sanders was not feeling well, where he felt his chest pressure. And to be consistent, let's say Bernie Sanders collapsed on stage or something like that. I think it's arguable whether that has news value to show that if you have the video. I think that's arguable. I know you guys wouldn't want to see it, but if Joe Biden collapsed on the stage, I wouldn't be like, no, for privacy reasons, we shouldn't see it. If a leading presidential candidate passes out, I think we should see it. I think it's important for voters to see something is wrong here. And then we might later find out it's not anything dire. It's just they were dehydrated or whatever the case may be. In this case, Bernie Sanders didn't pass out. He wasn't feeling well, so he asked for a chair to give his speech sitting down, which is obviously rare for Bernie Sanders. I don't think I've ever seen him or covered him give a speech not standing up. CNN, even though Bernie Sanders' campaign had taken down the video, which again, I don't blame them. I don't think they're hiding anything. MSNBC, for example, said, give us an update on what's going on. They told you what was going on the day before. He had 2 stents put in to unblock an artery, and he's resting up. When you say we need to know what's going on, the campaign told you very quickly after what happened. There was no update. It's not like if he needed another procedure, they would have told you he just had a new procedure. So MSNBC was pretending that the campaign is hiding and not telling us what's going on when they just told you the day before what was going on. But CNN felt it was very important, news value-wise, to show the moment that Bernie Sanders was not feeling well. Here we go.
Then we do have a video of him at the event. You mentioned this.
Yes.
He held before he went to the hospital.
Last night.
He did, as you point out, ask for a chair to sit in, which, never happens.
Correct.
He clearly was not feeling well.
Right.
As you say, that is not what you usually see.
That is not Bernie Sanders right there. And just sort of the flushed look on his face, you can tell that he's not doing that well. And so I think the question now is how fast can he get back on the campaign trail? And what does this do to not his hardcore support? Erin, the hardcore Bernie folks are not going anywhere. They are loyal. They are in this for a cause. The question that I have is the person in Iowa or New Hampshire who was kind of on the fence about Bernie, what does this do to them?
So, again, I'm not saying this is a Bernie Sanders supporter. I don't really think it was so necessary to show a clip of Bernie Sanders asking for a chair to speak. The only reason they were doing it is obvious. They want to show Bernie Sanders in a weakened position. CNN, MSNBC, all they are is extended public relations for the establishment. In this case, they've been propping up Warren, they've been propping up Biden. Now Time Magazine is putting Kamala Harris on the cover to try and, it's like whatever that machine is to start somebody's heart that stopped. They're trying to resuscitate Kamala Harris's lifeless campaign, Time Magazine. Why should Kamala Harris get a Time Magazine cover? Bernie Sanders just raised more money than any other candidate this campaign. Kamala Harris, polling at 5%, let's give her the cover of Time Magazine. I digress. So I don't think that was necessary, and I think it was very obvious that CNN was trying to continue pushing the narrative. Bernie Sanders is a damaged duck. He's a damaged candidate. He's damaged goods, and he's going to continue fading without actually having to say that. That's why they pushed the video. So, defibrillator, thank you very much. So, again, the MSNBC segment came before Bernie Sanders' campaign gave an update, and the update was he's talking to doctors, he's resting up in the hospital, he'll be discharged this weekend, and then he'll go back to Burlington, Vermont. And they also said that he's going to be on the debate stage October 15th in Ohio. So that's good news too. So what's going to happen now is the question in the days where he's not on the campaign trail, where they know they got Friday, possibly Saturday, he's still in the hospital. What are they going to do? You're going to start, that was an appetizer. You're going to start seeing more panels on the future of Bernie Sanders' campaign to remind people that he's still in the hospital. even though this is a common procedure, even though from the doctors I've seen in multiple interviews, has nothing to do with his age. And you could be just as energetic. This is going to be the beginning of the last stage of the corporate media psyop against Bernie Sanders to get him to drop out. So I promise you, and we will follow up and we will clip it and show you, you're going to see a lot more segments about Bernie Sanders in a weakened state, the future of his campaign. You know, is he being selfish? Should he be more focus more on his health and his grandkids and this and that, and let, pass the torch, so to speak, to Elizabeth Warren, who's very similar to him? Because that's also been the media narrative, that Warren's very similar. They're very similar to each other. So why do we need anything else? Here's the issue. Bernie Sanders is not the same as Elizabeth Warren. He is way more progressive and, frankly, way more consistent. So why do you think Bernie Sanders is going to continue campaigning? Do you think maybe he thinks Elizabeth Warren is not the best candidate? You think maybe he thinks, I don't like what I see with my friend Elizabeth Warren, her playing footsie with the establishment, this and that. So I hope Bernie uses this time for rest to re-strategize his campaign a little bit. Because, frankly, I'd like to see him take off the gloves and really punch Joe Biden in the face, figuratively. But I'd also like him to start seeing him go more, I don't want to say aggressively, because I think that could backfire, but more directly at Elizabeth Warren, pointing out the differences and also pointing out she hasn't been the best candidate money can't buy. She has taken money from big donors. She just did the creative counting that I've reported on and raised all that money in the Senate re-election campaign from big dollar donors and then transferred it to her presidential campaign. But we are going to see over the next few days more of this. Whatever you want to call it, I would say subtle but not so subtle campaign to remind audiences Bernie Sanders is still hospitalized, Bernie Sanders is still in a weakened state. What is the future of his campaign? It's all a narrative to basically try their very best to convince people on the fence or currently with Bernie to flee. That's what they're trying to do. We will expose it every step of the way. Because as far as I know, this has nothing to do with his age, and he's already announced he's going to be on that debate stage for, as far as I'm concerned, onward. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.